Apex is the next villain we're going to talk about. He's a brand new villain with this release and is tightly linked to the Alpha character. This guy is the King by Right of Claw, werewolf villain. Apex the Wolf King used to have an inferior human name, something like Carl or Steven, but he no longer recalls what it was, as he has fully given in to the Apex Predator's side of being a lycanthrope. He has pulled the Lycan packs together and assembled an army of werewolves, and then done one thing that no werewolf has done. He has gained a covenant with the Court of Blood and works with Blood Countess Bathory to empower the werewolves, allying with vampires rather than constantly fighting with them. The Blood Countess wants to see an end of humanity and is perfectly fine with the werewolves throwing themselves at the humans as a distraction as the Court of Blood works in the background. Within Apex's deck, you're going to find the leaders of several other wolf packs that anytime Apex starts to look weak, those other werewolves are going to try and rise up and take over as King of the Wolves, which is an interesting dynamic within this deck. 50 HP. In his setup, he's going to discover H-2 werewolf cards. -1 damage dealt to Apex by targets with fewer HP than him. So he's really all about whoever's the strongest on the map right now. And if you're stronger than him, you can deal full damage. Otherwise, you deal a little bit of reduced damage. +1 damage dealt by him all the time. Really strong. Start phase. If Apex is not the werewolf card, so pay attention to werewolf cards, with the highest HP, flip him. Otherwise, Apex regains X HP, where X is the number of werewolves in play. So he gets healed for all the werewolves out there if he's the strongest one, and if he's not the strongest one, he has to submit down, step down from being the king. End phase, Apex deals the hero target with the highest HP H-2 melee damage. Apex deals each werewolf card other than himself 1 melee damage. Again, watch for this werewolf keyword. There's a version of Haka and Alpha are both werewolves. And so you need to be able to be watching that because he'll be striking those characters as well. Advance. Whenever a villain target would be dealt damage to another villain target, redirect that damage to the hero target with the highest HP. That redirects all of this deal damage to werewolves that he does. So that is risky. Alright, flipping him over, he becomes Apex once and future king. Still a villain werewolf. -1 damage dealt to Apex by targets with fewer HP than him, as the same. +1 damage dealt by the werewolf card with the highest HP. So whichever werewolf took his throne, whichever one has more HP than he does, becomes stronger. Start phase. If Apex is the werewolf with the highest HP, flip him. End phase. Discover 1 werewolf card. Apex deals each target other than himself 2 melee damage. Apex regains X HP, where X is the number of targets he damaged. Advanced, after a villain target deals damage, it regains 2 HP. Oh, that'd be huge. Ooh. So he is a monster trying to stay in charge of his ferocious pack who will turn at him at any time that he seems weak, is what we got going on with Apex. For his deck, we've basically got one-shots, ongoings, and werewolves are kind of what's going on in here. So lots of one-shots, things like Apex deals each non-villain target 2 melee damage whenever a target is destroyed by Apex. Or this way, Apex regains HP, things like that. Start phase, if there are H or fewer werewolf cards in play, shuffle the villain trash into the villain deck and discover a werewolf. That's a really annoying ongoing and hard to keep his packs down. Lots of ongoing destruction is needed to be able to handle this guy. +1 damage dealt by all werewolves. He regains HP and destroy this card. Each werewolf deals itself 1 toxic damage. Interesting. The pack hungers. So he does a lot of summoning. There's this unique guy. He's Magister Damaris. He has +1 radiant damage dealt to this card, as all vampires do. After a werewolf is destroyed, each villain target regains HP. So he heals all of the other werewolves once one dies. This card deals each non-vampire target 1 irreducible infernal damage, whipping people into shape. So for the werewolves, we got a bunch of things that summon werewolves and deal extra damage, but for the werewolves, there's a couple of them. You got Chell, which is deal each non-villain target 2 infernal damage. You've got Timber, which is this card deals the H-2 non-villain targets with the highest HP, 3 damage each. Really strong. You got Flint. This card deals the non-villain target with the highest HP, 4. Rowan. This card deals the non-villain target with the lowest HP 3, taking advantage of our weakest. And then Gumbo. This card deals the non-villain target with the highest HP 3 melee damage. Then this card deals the target with the highest HP 3 melee damage. So he starts fighting Apex usually, and hits us and Apex a bit. So a lot of people like to keep Gumbo up to keep him whittling down on Apex while dealing with the other werewolves first. And you should always keep a couple of werewolves in play and lower health than Apex. You don't want this guy flipping until you can burn him. So you only want him to flip if you can absolutely burn him and keep him down. Otherwise, you want to keep him on this side where he is much less difficult to deal with. So that's the brand new boss Apex, the Werewolf King. Hope you guys have a good time battling this guy out and are stoked to fight against the werewolves in Sentinels Definitive Edition.